and we are going to study an extra, I would say, elegant choice for black. After check and bishop d2, this line is comparatively easy to learn, and it is of the opposite philosophy of a5. a5 generally quite often is very complicated, and we are trying very much for a win. We may even enter some slightly dubious position sometimes in our effort to play for a win. And here the things are entirely different. This line, although it scores well for black with several wins, it is mainly played as a solid weapon when equality and even a draw is comparatively closer. So black just takes on d2. This is the line that we are going to study. After this, why did I choose this queen e7? You will see. So bishop takes d2 is our move, of course, and we will study this move first of all. This move, knight b takes d2, is a mistake. It's inaccurate. We will continue with d6 and eventually e5, and the knight is misplaced on d2. For example, after e3, of course, we won't play a5 transposing to other lines, which is going to be our move here, obviously, with black. We already know by now what is black going to play here. Who will suggest, please? Let's see, how should black continue? Black will, of course, play queen e7 and e5 immediately. Let's better play queen e7 and e5 immediately, even before castle. Very good. So I would like to point out a very important game in such structures. So here, sooner or later, we will play queen e7. So in fact, it will transpose to this famous game of the past, Bjorn Alander against the famous Ulf Adderson. Let's check the game. So g3, and only now bishop takes d2, knight b takes d2, and d6. So in fact, we reached more or less the same position. We could have gotten it like this. Here, d6 and g3, queen e7, intending e5. Let's check this game. So check, queen e7, and d6. This move, yes, in this system, as you will see, we will be playing d5, but not with the knight on d2. We will be playing d5 when white has his queen on d2. This move here is a serious positional mistake, this move, because the knight now stands perfectly here. So after this, we will end up in a very passive situation, queen c2, c6, and e4, for example, with a big advantage for white. This is very passive play, because white, thanks to his knight on d2, managed to play c4, e4 very fast and gain the initiative. So this d5 move, as you will see, will follow up after queen takes d2. Let's check this game, however, because I consider these positions very important. So he castles, and e5 once again. Very good. Soon we will be done with this and we will check the e5 move. But here, this is an important idea. So here, if he plays d5, I see two good moves for black. One, who will suggest the two good moves for black here? Two good moves to consider. Who will suggest? Let's see. Two good moves for black. One move is definitely a5, intending to play knight a6 later. And which is the other good move? The other move to consider is this. Why? Because remember, e4 and e3 can be very effective if we have our queen supporting this operation, e4 and e3. If I put this back and put a rook on e8, then this e4, e3 tends to be less good. But with supported by a queen, this e4, e3 can be powerful, so it needs to be considered. In this game. White played e4. This is a remarkable game. White played e4. Now, black would generally like to force white to do something with his pawn, for example, to play here, after which black's automatic reaction. Let's see what happened, first of all. Black plays here. He is threatening to win a pawn on d4. But there is a much deeper strategy behind this move. So this is a line, and this is a position that I strongly suggest that you memorize. Here, these very few moves of theory. So what is his idea? Black's idea is obviously to pressurize the white center, threatening to take here, and force him to do something with his pawn, to either take here or push d5. Once again, we are aware of such positions. What will black play here? Whenever I see this d5 and I see access to nice, lovely squares, black will definitely play which move here without any doubt. He will play a5, very good. And then this move. For example, here, knight a6. Here, now it's a dilemma. This move makes sense, but in my view, this is an even better idea, followed by c6 and b5. We will rather play on the queen side because this bishop is locked on the king side and it doesn't take part in the control of these squares. You see, a huge typical ideas, a huge field for strategy and for tactics and for several openings, which we are learning. And out of so many transpositions, we can get the same ideas. And now look what happened. This is really remarkable. After e4 and bishop here, white wants at all cost to keep the tension in the center. And for this reason, he played h3. We will soon be done with this game. Black took on f3, and white takes with the knight. And white was happy because he's keeping the tension. We cannot take knight takes e4 because knight takes e5 is very good for black. And so it seems that black cannot do anything. Taking on d4, for example, is definitely not our plan. White will be better here. He will put his pieces in the center. He has very good control. Here, white is better. However, Ulf Andersson had seen an amazing idea after, let's see it again, bishop g4, h3. He takes here, knight takes, and now this e4 pawn is hanging, but not just yet. Black played this amazing idea, c5. I was fascinated by this game when I saw it for first time in my life. c5, and now white would very much prefer to close the side, to play here and start playing with f4. However, this time this pawn is dropping. So unfortunately for white, after taking on f3 and playing this amazing move, c5, white is forced to take here. And of course, black put his knight on c6, and he was much better because of this terrible bishop on g2. And later he won the game. So although we suppose that after this, and whenever we take on d2, our opponent will be good enough to know that queen takes d2 is the best move. However, this is an important game in order to consider knight b takes d2 very good. Now, let's go to study white's best moves. So here we are. This is a rapid game between Grandmaster Vovk and Grandmaster Dominguez Perez, both of very high level. So Dominguez Perez, the Cuban Grandmaster who has become an American for several years now, is one of the very best players in the world. And he plays this line a lot, queen takes d2. And black's idea is to play d5. He can either play d5 immediately or castle first and then d5. It's exactly the same. So they play d5. And one may note that this is some sort of queen's gambit, but without our good bishop on f8, and without white's bad bishop uh, on c1. This, on one sense, on one hand, this is correct. On the other hand, without these dark square bishops, white hardly ever has an attack. So we have a safe king, and we develop very fast. We are maybe very slightly worse, but we are trying to equalize and play for a win without much risk. After d5, white has two main ideas, and they involve the development of this bishop. He can play plans with g3, and he can play plans with e3. In my view, it is better to play with g3. So in the style of Catalan. Now, he played g3 in this game. So we will study both these two ideas. You see, the good thing about this system is that it is extremely simple. Check, I take it, and just d5. And I let him decide. He played this. Generally, our plan will be to castle, play c6, knight bd7 here in the g3 variation. Our plan will be to castle, to play c6. Here he first played c6, knight bd7 or castle first. It doesn't really matter. Let's suppose that here we take this. No, this is a very bad move. Let's clarify that. This is a very bad move. White will continue with knight a3. This is his idea. He will regain the pawn soon, and this is a strategically horrible position for black. Be careful, you cannot just play such passive chess and get away with it. Here, white has a clear advantage. This is a strategically winning position for white. It is very difficult for black to develop this bishop on c8. Black needs to have a pawn on d5 to eliminate this powerful bishop on g2. Now this pawn is gone from d5, and white can at any moment free his bishop from g2. We don't like it. So let's go back once again. Our plan is definitely not, after d5, is definitely not to capture this pawn on c4. So here we will play c6 in all the cases. We will castle short, knight bd7 and b6 bishop b7, or b6 bishop a6, depending on the situation. Our position is a little bit passive, as they say, but very solid. So here our plan is b6 bishop b7 or b6 bishop a6. Generally, white knows how to put some pressure. For example, this move, rook here, is good. Let's suppose that he plays, for example, b3. It doesn't change much. Our plan is simple. We will play b6 and followed by either this move or that move. Isn't our position a bit passive? Well, let's see. Let's suppose that he plays here. When I see this knight on c3, I realize that this is a weakness, and I would like to place the bishop on a6. And now let's clarify something. He takes here. So which move do you think is the correct move for black? Should he take with the e pawn, with a knight, or with a c pawn? What do you think? How should black capture here? Let's see. E d5, c d5, or knight d5? Who will suggest? So, very good. There is not really a question. The good, correct move is c takes d5. We want a symmetrical, good position. And additionally, now this bishop is neutralized because his usual plans with e4 do not really work here anymore. They will only give to white an isolated pawn. Let's clarify something, please. Let's clarify. Let's suppose that we are here. If white takes here on d5, our pawn is still on b7. Now there is no question at all. Now we will play e takes d5, and black is better. But this time, of course, we won't play b6 and bishop b7 or whatever. We will develop the bishop from this diagonal. We will play such moves, rook e8, bishop f5. We will put this knight here on d6. Black is doing very well. So let's clarify some. After castling, if cd5, which is a very bad move, we take with the e pawn. If, however, he plays, for example, b3, b6, and now he takes, please be careful. Now our pawn is on b6. If black could, he would rather put this back and play e d5 with a wonderful position. After e d5, the bishop on g2 has been neutralized. However, with this pawn already here, if we take with the pawn, it's not that we are losing or anything, but we are permanently slightly worse due to the weakness of the c pawn. So in fact here, this is the correct move. And once again, White's problem is that this bishop is not at all better than our bishop. We can put it here. Yes, our position is solid, maybe even a little bit passive, but we do have plans. We want to stabilize the position, maybe later play such ideas. This is a very common plan, and little by little start playing for win. This is an even better move here. So the game is equal. Let's check, for example, queen e7. He plays a move, rook f to c8. I would like to place this rook on c8. It doesn't make much difference, but generally all the play is concentrated on the queen side. And indeed, this is a quite equal position. Our plan can be to put the knight here. Sometimes, as you will see, we gain space on the other side by means of g5 and f5 and all these moves. And we are slowly trying to outplay our opponent in this objectively equal position. Indeed, he can play here, and after taking, what we get is another equal position. Very good. However, equality doesn't mean a draw. So d5 again. We will play castle, knight bd7, c6 at any move order that you like. It doesn't make any difference. So c6, knight bd7, castles, castles. If cd5 now, we take with the e pawn, I repeat. But after such a move and b6, now if he takes on d5, we will take with a c pawn. So he goes here, once again, bishop a6, putting pressure in the center. And after taking, cd5 is for sure. And here, once again, this equal position, rook here, queen e7, but there is play for both sides. Objectively, it is equal. Let's check what happened in this game between Grandmaster Wolf and Grandmaster Dominguez. So rook c1, indeed, this is a clever move. White is first to put his rook on the open file, but black doesn't have a problem. He plays b6. If cd5 now, cd5, of course. So b4, the idea of this move is to gain space, sometimes maybe even push here, or sometimes push here. This is a theoretical move. Can he play, for example, such a move? Yes, he can, but this knight may also be a bit misplaced. We can play here, or possibly even here. Next move will be rook c8, queen e7. We are playing for equality. We also have our own advantages. For example, this is coming here. Our king, as we can see, is entirely safe. And even if we need to defend for a few moves, let's suppose that here, I believe this is the best move. But let's suppose I play something like this. Okay, and he takes it, for example, and he gains some initiative. Okay, we will defend for some moves. Look, for example, here, he gains the file. We may play here, intending little by little to play for to try and equalize, or maybe play here, intending to go 98 and push him back. So this is our plan. Actually, even this pawn was dropping now. But let's say we are here, bishop f1, for example, 98. We push him back. We equalize the game, and we either make a draw or we start playing for a win from this equal position. For example, here, a6, knight d6. Indeed, the position is equal, but we can keep on playing. Very good. Here, king f7, and that's it. There are players who like to play this way. Very good. So I think it's very wise to show this option as well. And indeed, black can win sometimes. So let's see what happened here. b6. So b4 was played, and bishop here. Quite often, black wants to play c5 or even a5. White played a4. And here, according to the theory, a5 is a very good move, and the position is about equal. White took on e5. If white plays b5, then we are standing quite well. We will take on b5. Here we take with this. Put the rook on c8. Let's see. The queen stands very well on e7. We have this nice little square on b4. And black even starts pushing a little bit now, because our bishop on b7, I have the feeling that is stronger, or let's say less bad than the bishop on g2 here in this position. So here, maybe next move can be rook c4 or rook c7. This primitive chess playing for draw or for slightly for win, a little bit for a win. Let's see what happened after a5. White took here. We need to take with a rook. Again, the position is equal. Queen b2 was played, and now black made a mistake. He took here. According to the computer, this move is very good, and the position once again is very equal. For example, after taking here, I would have taken with a bishop, possibly, and it is about equal. Let's say here, take, and this is an equal game. Very good. So here, yes, dc4 was not so good, but after mistakes by both sides, black managed to even win in the end. In this particular position, white is better. Let's check another game of this quite simple position. Let's check the game Grischuk-Dominguez, these two superstars. You see, when Dominguez, for example, is playing against this amazingly strong player, Alexander Grischuk, anyway, with black, everybody in the world is going to suffer and is going to be under pressure. So here he chooses the amount of pressure himself. He says, I will be slightly worse here, close to equal, but not exactly equal. And long term, it's going to be a draw, and it will depend on me. The result will depend on me. So he takes here, and now we castle or b5 first. It doesn't matter. Castle, d5, knight bd7, c6, b6, bishop b7. So here it is, c6. Please pay attention. Why does he play c6 and later b6? Why does he need that? Let's check. Because if, for example, he castles, and here, now we suggest the move c6. What is, let's say, wrong with this move b6 here? Why doesn't he play b6? What is wrong with this move? What do you think? Nothing is tremendously wrong, but what will happen after b6? Let's see. So after b6, we didn't really get what we want. He will take on d5. And how were we taking in the past? We had the pawn on c6, and we were taking with this pawn. C takes d5. However, this is not possible anymore. Now we will have to take with the e pawn, and now white is slightly better due to the weakness of this pawn. And if we push it sooner or later, he will take it, and again he will be slightly better due to the hanging pawns. So that's the problem. In this particular position, if I make one small correction, black is at least equal. If I could somehow magically take this pawn and put it back here, black is at least equal in this position. He will play c6 because the bishop on c8 is even better than the bishop on g2, and because black's pawn structure is more dynamic. However, we don't play b6 because he will capture on d5. We first play c6 and then b6, so that when he captures on d5 with the c pawn, we take with the c pawn. Very good. So let's examine this nice game right from the start. So we c6, knight bd7, and here white played knight a3. The good thing with this knight a3 is that it is protecting the c4 pawn, and quite often after such an idea and cd5, cd5, the knight wants to go to b5 because white knows that after a b6 move and cd5, black doesn't want to take with his e pawn, but with his c pawn. On the other hand, the problem with this knight on a3 is that if we keep the position like that, it's not really going anywhere. So here, Dominguez played b6, but in my view, this is an even better move. Knight e4. Let's say queen c2 or queen c1. Look at this now. Queen a5 check, knight d2, and we exchange everything here. And for example, king e7. Our bishop on c8 is a little bit passive, but it doesn't matter so much. His bishop on g2 is not much better than our bishop. His knight on a3 is a little bit bad, and we have a very good king on e7 to defend. So this is an equal position. In the past, I would think that white is better here, but this is not true. For example, after this, we can, let's say I play such moves intending to go here, rook a to c1. All these moves are possible. A very high level move for black, g5 proposed by you know who, by the computer. g5, fixing the structures. For example, here, knight f6, protecting everything. Our pieces are a little bit passive, our bishop on c8, but there is absolutely nothing white can do here. You see, we are passive, but also solid. h5 and bishop d7, black is doing great, really very well. Actually, black is even better. So, of course, all these are very general ideas because both sides can play, have a lot of alternatives. So here, in my view, would have been a better move. And this is an equal endgame. I try e3, for example. Black will play knight f6 again. Let's say b3. I try such moves. a5, bishop d7. Black doesn't have anything to be afraid of. So bishop d7, we are standing very well. Even such ideas, look, our king, a very, very important piece for the defense. If I put it here, we are worse. But on e7, very safe square, protecting everything. White doesn't have a dark square bishop. And after this, once again, who will show us the nice move, which according to the computer is even slightly better for black? After this move, who will suggest the move? The move is again the same. The move is the super powerful grandmaster move g5, gaining space on the queen side, intending h5 and h4. Of course, none of these moves is not even close to being forced, but they are just typical logical plans. g5, for example, here, g4 and h5, h4, very good play for black. This bishop, I repeat, is about equally bad with this one, or equally good. So here, h5, we are doing great. Let me go back once again. A lot of details, just d5. Let's say we choose Dominguez move order, c6 without castling. Here, knight bd7. So if knight a3, we will go knight e4. However, knight e4, queen a5 check. Let's see how they played here. He played b6. knight e5. After knight e5, quite often we take it and knight d7, or we play this bishop b7 to protect everything. At some moment, we will not tolerate this knight on e5 for too long. At some moment, we will capture it. So he takes here. How should black take? He should take with a c pawn. That was his idea on the first place. And white goes queen here. Look, white can easily end up worse. If, for example, he plays this, let's see, queen here, and he takes it, and he takes here, look, and he castles. Now white's pieces are random. For example, I can play this. Look, our king is very active. I can play here, and I can start maneuvering, or maybe doubling the rooks here, or maneuvering with this knight, knight e8, or play this other super scientific move, g5, intending g4 to freeze white's queen side, g4 and h5. And so black is doing great. Who can ever claim that this bishop, because these three pawns are on light squares, this bishop is better than this one? This is absolutely not the case. So in a safe way, black wants to play for a win in a safe positional way. Be careful, however, because if you start playing such systems all the time, you will become a passive player in the end. Yes, such systems are dangerous because they are very addictive. We have very simple plan. Many players like to defend and then slowly maybe take the upper hand. And this may end up in a passive play, in this kind of addiction. So knight b5, he castles, and here he defends. So black is defending passively for a few moves, and then he chases away white. And this is again an equal position. If black had his king on e7, he could even be better. He plays here, king d2. What is white's threat here? All of a sudden, there is a threat. Let's see, what is white's threat here? For example, if we play king f8, we will end up in trouble. He played bishop c6 because if we play here, we are going to lose the game after knight a4. We got all these problems because the situation is such that his king is better than ours. Of course, Dominguez Perez is way too good for that, and he simply played bishop c6. His plan now is to bring the king back to e7. As we can see, white's bishop on g2 is really not better than our bishop on c6. White played the rook here in order to try some tricks. And here, and I believe king e7 after calculation, there is no knight takes d5. He played here, bishop b7, and he calculated this rook c7 check, which he will either play here or capture. And here, nothing much is happening, and draw is the more possible result. So white played here again, threatening knight a4, and they made a draw here. This is not a fast draw, this is a fighting draw. So we clearly see once again black's ideas. Let's see them one more time. So in a different game. This is a standard game between Kukuksari Khan with a rating of 2337 and the famous grandmaster, friend of mine, Bahadur Jobava, with a rating of 2620 at that time. So let's see, Jobava used to play this system a lot because he's a good endgame player and because he doesn't like theory so much, so he wants to get out of the book as early as possible and then every opponent will play for himself. Here, our suggested move is going to be d5. However, Jobava played this check. And after this move, he took it immediately. Now, what is black going to play after queen takes d2 and after knight takes d2? Who can tell us? After queen takes d2, this move. After knight takes d2, again this move. I believe you must have things clarified in your mind by now. So let's see what to play after knight takes d2 and what to play after queen takes d2. Very good. So if white takes with a knight, then the idea is d6 and soon e5. If white takes with the queen, as he did in the game, the plan is d5. Very good. And we are again back to normal. Here, knight bd7. By the way, another possibility is this, very rare possibility, and check. Okay, after this we will play queen e7, and again black has a very nice game here, c6, and we are doing great. We won't play b6 this time, we will move this knight and get a solid position, develop our bishop. If you are feeling you have good technique in endgames and good technique in positional play, better than your opponent, then you can choose this line. It has advantages that it is solid and without much theory. And the disadvantage is that it is a little bit too solid. So c6 plays, castles, and here we are. If it was black to move, he would have played b6 followed by bishop b7 or by bishop a6. But it is white to move, and he played here, queen d3. I don't see any big difference. Black played b6. Next move is either going to be bishop b7 or bishop a6. Let's see what happened in this nice game. cd5. How did Jobava play with the black pieces? What do you think? According to what we have said so far, there is no question. He played, of course, cd5. Very good. So white played knight c3. And here I like black's move very much. Black could play bishop b7 when he is very slightly worse or equal and keeps on fighting. However, black uses the queen on d3 in order to develop the bishop on a6 with tempo. He played this move a5. But isn't this b5 square weak? Yes, but he's going to play bishop a6 very soon to control it. And as you will see, another possible plan at any moment is this. Please be careful. Here, with all our pieces undeveloped, we won't play such moves, of course. White will start laughing. He will strike in the center. Now, it doesn't matter that white has an isolated pawn. He has a much better development in the center, an initiative in the center. So we don't play knight e8 and such moves without having developed our pieces first. So the choice is between two moves, either a5 or bishop b7. This appears to be a better move. White played a4, bishop here, and knight b5. Very good, logical stuff. Queen e7 by black, targeting some nice squares. Queen b3 was played, and rook f to c8. Possibly black may play this move at some moment. White played rook f to c1 and h6. Okay, it's a useful move, nothing special. Knight d2. And now Jobava played knight e8. According to the computer, there is an amazing move for black, which is this one. It is working only now for some reason. After taking, he takes here, a takes b4, intending to take on b5 and go with the rook on a2. For example, after this, he takes it and he goes, wow, G5, remember this typical move, G5, followed quite often by G4, H5, and he claims that he's protecting everything, and Rook A2 may come soon. Okay, very difficult stuff. A much simpler move instead of this is knight d8, as played in the game. E3, and he continues. G5, it seems that Jobava knows the plans of this position very well. What is the evaluation of this position? Equality for now. Bishop d3, king g7, some nice waiting moves. Rook c3, and all of a sudden he takes here. Now white starts having problems. He couldn't keep the tension. He took with a pawn. If he takes with a queen, look what will happen. The rook here, and after that, for a long time now, Black was planning this move. Bishop takes b5 for a long time. And after taking knight d6, and Black has a very healthy position strategically, and he will try to prove that his knights are better than white's bishop. And long term, he wants to do this and h5, h4, and find there some play. Jobava is very well accustomed with these ideas. So rook takes c3, b takes c3, and rook c8. Black is doing great. White played knight d6, which is not really a good move because Black is happy to exchange this knight for his bishop. So knight takes, and just rook c6. It seems that Black is a bit better here. He played g4, he knows the plans. He played h5, strengthening the position. And he takes en passant here. And he starts attacking all of a sudden. In great style, he starts attacking. Wow. And with his amazing tactics, all of a sudden he won the game. So this is a very high level, very instructive game to check Black's ideas. How he plays with a5, bishop a6, and even more how he plays with g5 and g4, which is his plan if the opponent doesn't do anything. Let's check another game in this line. So check, our move will be d5 here, but let's say d5, c6. This is the game between Arvola 2470 and Sanal Vahap, Turkish Grandmaster, with the black pieces with a rating of 2590. It's always useful to know how good are the players. So knight bd7, yes, castles, b6, maybe he could have castled first, but it's okay. Here, he castles, and queen c2. If b3, I see this pawn on c4 being a little bit weak, so I would like to play bishop a6, targeting this pawn. And after here, with some tactics, let's better play this move to protect our weaknesses. For example, if he takes here, we will take with the queen. And if he takes here, we will take with the c pawn. And after that, it seems that Black starts putting some pressure. I will play here. Please be careful all the time about moves like knight takes d5 or knight e4, all this kind of stuff. We carefully play here. And we triple the rooks. And can I play queen c7 here? Possibly. So Black seems to be doing very well. Let's see what happened. This knight c3 move does not look to be very good. So queen c2. We are now, after queen c2, we are in move number 10. You can be sure 100% that both players are out of book. 100%. However, once again, the plans remain. So black has to choose between two moves. Very easy question. Between which moves should black choose? He will either play this move or that move. This is what it means to play a simple system. Each time we have two easy choices to choose from. So which are the choices for black? Very easy. He is either going to play bishop a6 or bishop b7. He will calculate and he will see. By the way, let's suppose that he plays here and white goes e4. Yes. Now, black needs to choose between d takes e4 and d takes c4. How should black continue? What do you think? Difficult question. So this move is a dangerous move. It needs a lot of calculation. Maybe he can play here. I think that the most simple solution, which is still not at all simple, is to take this pawn. We have now something, as they say, to suffer for. We have one extra pawn and he has compensation. Very good. Okay. In the meanwhile, it seems to me that bishop a6 is more active, and we are definitely going to play it. White played queen a4. If he plays b3, I don't see any reason why not to capture the pawn. Look, we will take here. And let's suppose he plays this. What is this? We will simply take it and just go knight d5. One pawn is one pawn, yes? And there is not even a lot of material left on the board for white to hope for some real compensation. So black is at least equal here and possibly better. Very good. So you see, we have this nice simplicity. Queen a4 is not so good. He takes it. And if queen c6, maybe he will lose his queen after b5. Here there are problems with the white queen. So that's why he played b3. But here there is this fine tactic, knight e4. If he takes it, intermediate move, bishop b5, winning a pawn. So he took here, bishop b5, a5, yes. And black is a clear pawn up. And there wasn't any compensation. He won the game easily. So again, we go very fast through this game. So check, we are mostly talking about Bogo-Indian move orders and castle, or castle first, doesn't really matter. So here he plays b6 without castling. All of a sudden he decides to castle, and then just b6, bishop b7, or bishop a6 with good, very good play for black. Okay, we need to check one or two more games. For example, we need to check this game between Matlakov, Grandmaster Matlakov, and Grandmaster Sanal Vahab with the black pieces again. So they play here, c6, knight bd7, knight e5. This is another move. We saw knight c3. We saw this, after which we play b6. After all of these moves, we play b6. Here and here again, b6, followed by bishop b7 or bishop a6. And here comes this move. Now we are not in time to play b6. However, black must take here and play knight d7 according to theory. And after this, he has this powerful move, b5, and he gets good counterplay on the queen side. He takes here, check, nice intermediate move. And this is a mistake already. White must play e3, and after c d5, let's say a move like queen d4. Black is doing very well, however. After, let's say, b4 followed by bishop a6 or bishop b7, we have good play. So he played here, king h1, c takes d5. According to the computer, black is already better. White played knight a3. Can he play this move? No, not really. Here he is opening up his own king even more. For example, we can take it, and after this, we have this nice little tactic. Bishop here. Our position is very healthy and good. White cannot afford to attack brutally. We don't have any weaknesses, and the limited amount of material is in black's favor. Here, white played knight a3, hoping to go knight c2, knight d4. And black played this, which is a mistake. He should have played bishop b7 and knight c5. He gives the square, he gains the square, and black has very good counterplay. In such situations, white must tolerate this knight on e4. He must not take it. He must play here, and black is doing very well with nice counterplay. Very good. So this was the line with knight e5 here. We take it, we play here, b5, he takes this, or he takes on b5, check with nice counterplay. I have included another very nice game here, but we don't really need to see it. You will check it yourself. And here are two good games by Kramnik. Kramnik plays this. He has played it in standard games with both colors. And these are recent games. Kramnik has stopped playing standard games. These are recent Bleach games, Title Tuesday. So naturally, he chooses a very easy line, not to deal with theory, just to develop the pieces fast and then rely on his technique. So he played this check, he takes here, and castles and d5. We are still talking about positions with g3. This is the other idea. We will come to that soon. So white plays here and d5 and g3. But combining these two ideas is not so good. When in the Catalan, because this is some sort of Catalan position, when in the Catalan, white has a knight on c3, like here, then it is not so easy for white to regain the pawn. So this dc4 can be very annoying. dc4, black played knight e5, and who knows, the very typical idea, which under different circumstances would have been a horrible move, but in Catalan it works perfectly, as well as in some lines of the Pogo Indian. So which move is that now? A very easy move for a player who plays this stuff. The move is knight c6. This is a move that a grandmaster would have played almost instantly in this position. So after taking, please be careful. We have one extra pawn. You don't play these things with equal pawns. If I remove this pawn from c4, black can resign. We have one extra pawn, which will cost white a lot of time to regain it. He has his knight on c3 badly placed. If this was here and he can capture it, he can resign. But with the knight on c3, it's not easy. White goes here, and black has good counterplay on the b and d files. He played rook b8, rook here, and he found c5. What if white captures here? Well, he is moving the same pieces again and again. Then queen here, and after that, rook d8, or maybe c e5 immediately with very good counterplay for black. After this, we will choose between this move and this move, and rook b2 check. So black does have a good position. White played this, which is inaccurate, and c5, and black won a pawn. He brought his king, and later he won the game. Let's check this game once again. So they are heading for this d5 situation, and all of a sudden white plays knight c3. In this case, we take it and we keep the pawn. For example, if white goes here, this is too much. You cannot play both g3 and e3. Now black cannot keep the pawn as it seems, but he will play a move like this one, and after taking b5 and bishop b7 and knight here intending c5, again black is doing great. Okay, save. Okay, and one other game which I like very much is the game between, again titled Tuesday, between Maksudlu Parham with the white pieces and Kramnik again with the black pieces. Let's check what happened. He takes here and castles. We are talking about g3 positions. What is this knight c3 doing here? d5 and rook c1. Okay, strange stuff. Actually, this is a position that is out of book. Something between g3 and e3. Black goes here. Now if cd5, ed5, black is doing very well. And Maksudlu played this b6 move, but he is seriously lagging in his development. White is saying that if I manage to play e3 and bishop d3 and castle, then I will be much better. Of course, black strikes immediately. Please be careful. Very often I see unexperienced players in such positions play such moves. No, every tempo matters. We will play c6 only if it is necessary for some reason. Right? It is losing an important tempo, and if white manages to consolidate, he will be much better. So black strikes immediately, b6, b4, and he continues with a typical move, a5. White played a3, he takes here, and he takes here. Yes, this would have been an even better move, complicating matters as much as possible now that white is lagging in development. Possibly in his time travel because it's a bleach game. Possibly he was afraid of something like this. However, black can play here and win. So here knight c6 would have been an even better move, adding pressure and later taking on c5. Sorry. So instead of knight c6, he took on c5, and this is a nice little move. Black is slightly better. After this, black played a typical move, which is the typical move. We can see it very often in such situations. Who will remind us? The typical move is knight f to d7. Look, this clever move to stop any knight c6 annoying ideas. Knight f to d7. He took here and knight takes, very good. Knight f to d7, and if he moves back, the other knight will go to c6. So black is doing very well. Finally, he played c6 in order after this to play, yes, after bishop g2 to play e5, of course, here. And after this, f5 first, intending e5, white played here. And now look, let's clarify something. White's light square bishop on h3 or g2 or anywhere else is not better than black's light square bishop standing on a6, just because these pawns are on the light squares. These pawns are on the light squares, but they cannot become target by this bishop. And additionally, these pawns on the light squares supposedly are blocking this bishop, but at the same time, they are also blocking this bishop. So I would say that black's bishop is at least as good as white's. He played bishop c4, and later he went on to win the game. Very good. So one last game here, which is this one. Two female players, Chinganova Monica and Irina Crash with the black pieces. Let's see, check. This is not the move I suggest. After knight f3, I suggest bishop b4 check. After this, we will learn this move d5 in these sections, although this is also totally playable move, but after this check, white can also play here or knight d2. Okay, let's check what happened here. c6 and knight bd7, castles, and again this b6 immediately. The idea is, in some cases, to be able to play an early bishop a6. Rook c1 was played, and now no problem. Black is just castling. So cd5, cd5, and knight c3. I suppose the move for black is bishop a6. Very good. The position is equal, and the game goes on. Queen c2, let's see, queen 7, simple stuff. Queen a4, and now black has to go here. How about this? Well, this is not always the solution, because look, this knight here can also be isolated. It's not only a strength. If I play here, for example, he cannot take on a6 because of rook a8. This knight on c7 may end up in trouble. So let's see what happened here. Rook f to c8. Very good play by black. Simple play. a6, e3, and let's suggest a move for black here. This b5, knight b6, we gain some squares, but we also abandon some squares. Who will suggest a nice move for black here? Preferably a typical. Let's see. Knight e8 is the move in order to put it on d6. Black knows very well the typical ideas of this variation. This is not so good as it seems, because after here, gain one square on c4, but we are not alone. White also gains this square on c5. So instead, knight e8, and we are learning to distinguish that, in fact, this bishop is not worse than these. They are equally good. Let's check knight e2 and knight d6. Black is better now. Some nice play here. And now big positional advantage for black. Very well played. And later black managed to win the game. Save. Okay. So I believe we got a very clear picture of the this exchange bishop takes d2 variation with g3. Now let us study something different. We will study. So d5 once again, and c6 and knight bd7. We will study setups with e3. Very good. So let's see. e3. Black castles. He can also play knight bd7. Should I play c6 now? No, we don't need c6 now. This c6 is working in the g3 variation. So here we castle and knight c3. Now, in the past, I have given some lectures about the h6 queen's gambit, and they are very similar in these situations. We have the queen on d6, which has just captured a a bishop by white. Bishop f4 takes our bishop on d6, queen takes d6, and in that case, the queen was a bit exposed here, and we had to play this magical move, which was working perfectly indeed. Here, the move is queen e7, and now we have two possible scenarios. White can take on d5, or we can take on c4. In this game, white took on d5. So again, let's go back and see where we are standing. Check, we take it, d5. I see this e3 move. I don't play c6. I castle. The plan is entirely different. And for example, here we play queen e7 magical move. What is our plan? If he loses a tempo, for example, then our plan is to take on c4 and play c5. Now, either white will take on c5 or black will take on d4. We will again get to the same structure. Let's suppose, in both cases, let's suppose he takes here, we take, and he goes here, for example. Black's idea is to develop the pieces like this, rook d8, for example, here. And now this move b6 makes sense, but this is even more common. Here we have a very solid position, and our plan very often, who remembers from the Queen's Gambit, who was here, which is, yes, black can play here with an equal position and keep on fighting in the endgame after many pieces are exchanged. But who remembers another nice idea for black in these positions? Who remembers, instead of bishop e8, can I play here? No, because this will open also his bishop from b3. Sometimes it's a good move. If his bishop is here, for example, I can consider it, but not with his bishop here. So the move is knight e5. The idea of this move is to empty this square for the bishop. For example, let's say he plays such a move, or let's make it a bit simpler. So we take here and we play bishop c6. Look, in this equal position, objectively equal, black has the easier play. For example, we may consider causing some weaknesses with queen g5, or pushing g6, or maybe avoiding this because we don't want to exchange the bishops by playing a6, for example. And this is an equal position, but still there is play. For example, here we can capture it with equality. The computer generally prefers to keep the rooks on the board. So here, black is doing very well. For example, here, g6, king g7, our queen can go here, b5, this kind of play. Let's go back once again, right from the start. So we are playing d5, and we are talking about the e3 system, no c6 this time. We castle, and queen e7. Here it is, queen e7. Now, one of our two plans is to take on c4 and play c5, especially if he loses a tempo. Here it is, or bishop d3 for white. I take it, and I play c5. Sooner or later, we will end up in the same pawn structure. Here it is. Yes, let's suppose he goes here. Again, I can play b6, or I can play knight c6. For example, he castles, bishop d7. He plays here, and now once again, I will consider this move, knight d5, intending to exchange and to put the bishop here. For example, here, bishop c6. Black stands perfectly. Remember, our queen on e5 is really annoying because it is centralized, and if white dares to play this move is not so good. This move is very dangerous because the material is reduced. The material is very reduced, and so here, after, let's say, exchanging a couple of pieces, there is absolutely no attack for white. I can play here, or I can even take it. And look, now this, let's say I play g6. Now this pawn on e3 here, or these are weaknesses. What is he going to do? Play e5 and give checkmate? There is not enough material for that. So typically for this system, we are slowly playing for a win. Queen e7, intending dc4. So again, we were checking these possibilities. We take it. c5, just a second. Let's suppose that he castles. Okay. I can play several moves here. For example, knight c6, cd4. Let me play rook d8 against his queen. So he goes here, and who will help us? What should black play here? Let's see. Again, in the same style. Black will play simple chess. This move, knight c6. dc5 again, queen takes c5 here, and bishop d7. If I have time, I will play this. If I don't have time, if this is here, it seems to be working. If it's not working, I just go here. I put my pieces in the center. Little by little, I will start exchanging pieces, and slowly I will start playing for a win in the end game. You see, slowly. If you are a good end game player and you don't like complications, this is the line for you. Very good. So c5, castles, rook d8. Let's say he goes here. Knight c6 is playable, and even this move is playable. Take and take. Who will suggest, though, a move for black now? According to the plans, similar with the plans that we have seen so far. Who will suggest a move for black now? Let's see. So here, of course, I won't play this move. This is a huge mistake. Right now, white is better. So I will definitely play this move as already pointed out by some of the players. Bishop d7, for example, he plays such a move, and knight c6. So this is an equal position, but it's not a draw. There is play. For example, he goes back, let's say knight f3. We can play bishop e8. Look, this is equal. Yes, indeed. I can play h6 or g6, for example. Yes, this is equal, but it's not a draw. Who will win in this equal position? The better player. Yes. For example, here, both players have chances to win. Look, I play here. I brought the king out. I want to create some chances. Already black is somehow pressing a little bit. Very good. But both players are flirting with a draw. Yes, instead of g6, yes, one player points out that there is really no need. Sorry, in this position, just a second. Yeah, there is really no need to play g6 here. G6, well, at some moment, definitely not here. At some moment, if we feel that there are too many rooks on the board, yes, definitely, it's not a threat. Just let's say if we have one move to spare. Yes. So here, if we have one move to spare after this and a3, we can play this g6. A tough guy can even play this, for example. Our king is very safe here, and we have avoided checkmate. For example, here I take it and I go king e7. And with my nice technique and a nice centralized queen, we play g5, h5, h4, all these kinds of moves. Very good. And we are in the mood, in a Capablanca mood during the game to play several moves until the end. So let's check once again. Queen e7 intending to take on c4. And so white instead takes on d5. This is the second type of position. We take it with the pawn, and he goes bishop d3. Now, our plan is typical and always the same. we play here and c6, of course, c6. By the way, if he allows us, if he plays here, we won't lose our chance. We will definitely play which move here, please. No, let's say, sorry, he plays this. We won't miss our chance. We won't play c6. We will definitely play this move first because we want to exchange the light square bishops. And for example, here we will happily take it, play c6. And for those who have been here and have seen several of our lectures, these positions are not at all equal. Black has very good chances to size the initiative. Yes, we are trying to slaughter him without creating big complications. We are not playing for a draw. So queen e7, cd5, ed5. We want to play bishop f5. If he goes here, both bishop f5 and bishop g4 are very. So he will play here. Now bishop g4 doesn't make sense. He will go knight e5. This move doesn't really make sense. He will play here. So now we play this. Just remember the plan. c6 and knight e4 on the next move, or rook e8 and knight e4. Here it is. Rook e8 and knight e4. We have seen this plan in the Queen's Gambit. Here he played this. Let's suppose that he plays such a move. Let's explain the plan. We play here. We play knight d to f6, and next move is this no matter what. For example, even here, look, we will be very happy to play this move, intending to take on c3. For example, after that, we happily take on c3. And after that, yes, in this particular position, I can even take here, but let's say it was a bit different. Let's say this was here and this was here. So I happily go back to b5 and to d6. Black is doing really very well here. Really very well. White is expanding left and right without a clear target. So let's go back once again. Queen e7 with the two possible scenarios, the dc4 scenario followed by c5 and the cd5, ed5 scenario. For example, quite often they play this clever move. White is saying, play dc4 and help me develop my bishop in one go. But black doesn't go along with white's plans, and he plays here, intending to take on c4 and play c5. And after that, most likely, we will get again to these positions. So let's see what happened in this game. cd5, the static position, the Carlsbad structure. Bishop d3 correctly. We play knight bd7, c6, or c6, knight bd7, and knight e4, or rook e8 and knight e4. Here it is, rook e8 and knight e4, and then knight d to f6 and bishop f5. All our efforts are about the e4 square. In this game, this move was played, and knight e4, and white took it. If he doesn't take it, again, the same plan. We will play here. And look, I don't take on c3 yet. I want to pass my bishop because I very much want to exchange my light square bishop. For example, he goes here. I take here or on c3. I take here, and black is doing really very well. Let's say we play here. We continue. Let's see what happened in this game. White took on e4. This is a risky strategy. And here, black has some nice space. f3, yes, but it also creates weaknesses. Black takes it. And here, white was hoping to play these e4 and knight e5 moves. And I very much like black's idea. He plays here, and he wants long-term to put his bishop on h5 and on g6. Black is at least equal. White played knight e5. Look, how about this? This looks strong. The answer is no. Due to the limited amount of pieces, Look here, the parallel hanging pawns are really weak and really hanging when there are just a few pieces on the board. Here, many minor pieces have been exchanged. If I start adding minor pieces, the evaluation will turn towards white's favor. But here, black is doing very well. For example, after this, we are winning a pawn. Okay, so let's see what happened here. 95, and here this bishop will safely go to g6, and here it is. Black puts his pieces in the center, and he's doing very well. And later, he won the game. Let us check a few more games here. Let's check, for example, this game, Ivanchuk-Vityukov, rapid game between these two superstars. So let's see, bishop b4 check, bishop d2, and we are talking about this solid system, and d5, e3 or knight c3, we castle, and now if g3, we take on c4, and if e3, we play queen e7, ready at some moment to take on c4 and play c5. But Ivanchuk took here, and he played this. So now we switch our attention to the e4 square. He castles, knight bd7. He plays this, rook here, intending to do this once again. Here, knight d to f6 and bishop f5. White plays this, and he covers the e4 square. But on the other hand, this is losing some energy, and black plays knight f8 with good play on the king side. Let's see, rook here, and just bishop d7. He could also play other moves. b4. If he plays this, this is very double-edged. There are also weaknesses here. For example, a simple move like queen d6, and black is very solid and good. White played b4 because black cannot take it yet due to rook b1. So he just plays queen d6. In such situations, I remember we were putting a knight on d6. Well, here it is impossible. It will take too much time. I cannot play illogical moves like this one followed by knight e1, knight d6. No, I can forget about this plan. Maybe in the future a knight will appear on d6, but it's not possible. And it's not even possible with this knight. It's not objective to say, I don't know, I will play here and then here after moving the queen and here and here. No, plans of 5 and 6 moves in a board full of pieces are meant to fail. So queen d6. Look, sometimes knight g6, black is gathering his forces. Sometimes we allow our opponent to carry out his minority attack, but that doesn't mean that he's winning. For example, here we have good counterplay, and h5, and after taking, b takes c6. Yes, black is defending on one side of the board, and he's attacking on the other side, and this c6 pawn is really practically impossible to win. Let's see what happened in this game. a3 was played by Ivanchuk, and knight g4, and some attacking chances by black here, and I like this move b6, keeping the balance. And here, according to the computer, this wonderful move followed by bishop h3 would have been even better. Still, black managed to win the game. Save. Okay. You will check, of course, all these games by yourself as well. Let's check this game between Nakamura and Carlsen, a bleach game. So let's see. Carlsen has also played this line several times. He takes here, and d5. Nakamura has the white pieces. He plays this, castles, e3, and queen e7. And white plays rook c1, hoping for dc4, bishop takes c4 to win a tempo. Rook d8 is the move, intending to play dc4, bishop c4, and c5. White played queen here, hoping again to win a tempo, but he has just lost a tempo with his queen. So Carlsen takes on c4, and he plays c5, castles, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and bishop d7, this action. Here intending knight c6 with complete equality. He played here and just knight c6. Knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, and now if it were white to move, for example, if it was black to move, black may consider playing this, stopping bishop c5, because our bishop appears to be stronger than this one. For this reason, Nakamura goes directly for a draw by playing this move. And indeed, the position is very equal, but as one may expect, Carlsen did get an advantage afterwards. He played h6, and he got an advantage afterwards by trying some maneuvers and gaining some space. He got some advantage. This is what you are supposed to do in such positions. You must gain space, and you must play such lines if you like to play endgames without much risk and positional play. So this is it. And after a while, although black was better, the game was a draw in the end. And finally, one last game, which is one of my favorite strategies, again by Kramnik in a bleach game. So let's check it. Here we take and castles first. It's the same with d5. So d5, e3, and queen e7, rook c1, and rook d8, intending to take on c4. White stabilizes with this move, and here c6, let's see, castles, knight e4 here, and black is passing his bishop to f5. Black has good play here, and black is happy to exchange. He exchanges the pieces. He played knight a6 and knight here, and knight e8, knight d6. Now white is left without play in this typical position. a4, he played a6, of course, and next move should be, yes, I don't like this, f5, rook e8 would have been better in my opinion, and put the rooks here and attack. He played f5. Now at least there is one idea to put the knight here. So anyway, white is left without any pawn play, and Kramnik managed to win, especially after this blunder f4. Very good. So you will spend some time on these lines, and before the end of today's lecture, I would like to ask each one of you which line, for statistical reasons, which line did you like better? This strategical line with d5 and castling and all the stuff that we saw in the last lecture, or this move so far, which is a lot more complicated and unclear? So who would like to say a line with d5 or with a5? This is just for statistics. I'm always interested to see. I see. Most players, they say the a5 line. Very good. Okay. So in my opinion, you should know them both and try them in practice and see which works better. Very good.